Hello everybody, this is Legends of Runeterra. I'm Mr. Octanet, and today I'm going to be giving you my opinions on Teemo and Sejuani. The Teemo Sejuani archetypes specifically. So, oh my goodness, Teemo and Sejuani. Oh boy, where do I start? First of all, let's start with Teemo. Teemo by himself is already an annoying card for several reasons. His whole gimmick, his whole effect is honestly, I wouldn't. It's definitely up there as one of the most frustrating effects in the game. I wouldn't say that it's game breaking, right? It's kind of a good. I would say it's actually kind of a healthy, good sort of frustration, right? You know, you know, as weird as that sounds, it's a sort of healthy frustration. It's frustrating, it's annoying, but it's kind of a healthy sort of, by himself. Let me state that. By himself on his own, Teemo is sort of a healthy, good sort of frustration, right? It's kind of the whole, it's kind of the whole point of Teemo, right? He's infamous, across, at this point, across games as being a frustrating character to deal with. But then you pair him with Sejuani, and then the game breaks. Because, oh my goodness, this is kind of the same thing with Soraka and Tomcat, where I wouldn't say that Teemo Sejuani is overpowered. But I will say that Teemo Sejuani is ridiculously frustrating. Right? It goes from healthy frustrating to, oh my goodness, this breaks the game, sort of frustrating, where it's not even fun anymore. Because of Sejuani's effect when she levels up. And leveling up Sejuani is also very easy when you have Teemo. Right? Her main effect, each round, the first time you damage the enemy nexus, frostbite all enemies. Once the point that you've leveled up Sejuani, you probably have leveled up Teemo, and you probably have like a gajillion puff caps in the enemy's deck. So chances are they're guaranteed to draw at least one puff cap, right? That you only need one. Now think about that. You only need one puff cap to trigger Sejuani's effect. Heck, even if you didn't draw puff cap, chances are in the deck you're running, you have other cards to deal damage to the enemy nexus, right? You have maybe something like Ballistic Bot. Maybe you have, a Mystic Shot. Maybe you have, let's see, what else is there? There's a ton of cards to trigger the effect. Static Shock, although that archetype doesn't run that card. But you see my point, right? Like, once you level up Sejuani, it's kind of the same thing when Tom Kench gets put on the ground with Soraka and Tom Kench, right? The game just gets bottlenecked, essentially, or it only goes from, you answering your opponent and your opponent answering you, to you just trying your absolute best not to get completely destroyed because, oh no, all of your units have frostbite. The main issue is that, is this. You frostbite everything. And a lot of the time, because of Teemo, you didn't even do anything. Right? This round just started and suddenly everyone is frostbited. Of course, there exists Rhyme Task Shaman, which is kind of the same thing, but the thing with Rhyme Task Shaman is that she's not a controlled effect. Right? She's an effect you have control over when you go against her, because she frostbites specifically the strongest units. So you can be tactical, you can play around Rhyme Task Shaman. There is literally no way to play around Sejuani Teemo. Right? Once Sejuani levels up, that's it. Right? Good luck. It's difficult to even get rid of her with spells, right? Because you need something like Vengeance to actually get rid of her. I guess that's one thing, that's one counter against Sejuani Teemo, I guess. Something like a Vengeance stops her. But, the whole point of Vengeance is that it stops it stops, decks that rely on one unit. It's kind of like saying that, that vengeance stops, like saying that vengeance stops something like, let's say, no, but what's a ridiculously powerful card at the current moment? Lysandra, yeah, vengeance stops Lysandra. It stops any, big unit based, any big unit based deck. So saying that the counter Sejuani is kind of a moot point because it does that to everything. So what's the point of referencing that? The idea is that we're talking about in general, what counters Sejuani. Not a lot. When she levels up, she says 6/7. Good luck getting rid of a 6/7 without specific cards. And of course, because all of your units are frostbite, there's not even any way to deal damage through attacks. You can't even force out a block because all of your units have been frostbited. What are you going to attack with? There's also the fact that even if you're just trying to survive, every round you're taking damage from puff caps, right? Every round the enemy was playing correctly, your deck is filled with puff caps. And you're probably low on cards, which increases your chances of drawing puff caps. And, oh boy. And then of course we have the thing with even if you tried your best to stop Giovanni from moving up, Freljord Info itself already has several ways of frostbiting your units. Brittle Steel, Flash Freeze, Three Sisters. Also, yeah, Three Sisters, and and Entomb. Yeah, even if you have Vengeance, the enemy might have Entomb, which completely stops your Vengeance. Just again, I'm ranting. This is the third time I've ranted at this point. Third time I've ranted today. Of course, yeah, there exists Ramfang Wolf. I forgot about this guy, right? Ramfang Wolf. If I struck a unit with 0 power, kill it. Any unit in the game, doesn't matter what it is. If you have, Aurelian Soul, which, by the way, because Shijuani's effect isn't a spell, even with Spell Shield, it goes through Spell Shield. You can't even counter it with Spell Shield, right? The one thing that should technically be able to stop, damage cards or debuff cards, it doesn't do anything because it's not considered a spell. So if you have a Aurelian Soul, that's, a 10-10 unit, well, guess what? It's still gonna die to a Ramfang Wolf. Oh boy, and oh yeah, let's not forget the landmark. Let's not forget Hexcore Foundry, right? Let's not forget Hexcore Foundry and the fact that way puff caps work, right? They go off even when you toss cards, right? Even if your deck is full and you draw a card and that card gets destroyed, well, guess what? You still take damage. Even though the card was destroyed, you still take damage from the puff caps. So yeah, that's another thing. If the enemy has Hexcore Foundry, and you're playing a deck that's slower and takes time to get up to steam, chances are your deck is gonna be full, right? By the time Sejuani levels up. And by that point, you're starting to destroy your own cards. You're starting to destroy your own solutions to dealing with the enemy. And also, you're still taking damage. And by itself, Hexcore Foundry, of course, increases your chances of drawing a puff cap. Even without Hexcore Foundry, there are also other cards that help increase the chances of drawing a puff cap. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, Veteran Investigator. All players draw 1. It forces you to draw 1, which could be a puff cap. Too bad for you. Let's see, what else is there I might have forgotten about? I think that's it. Alright, Is there anything else that's ridiculous that I forgot about this deck archetype? It probably is. I feel too lazy to try to remember or look it up. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, this was... So, this is Runeterra. I was Mr. Octanit. Bye-bye. This is it.